You ever get that feeling in your gut that something's just a little too good to be true? Maybe it's a new romance that feels like a total fairy tale, or an urgent email from your boss that just seems off? Well, what if I told you there's a hidden playbook for that feeling? A set of manipulation tactics so powerful, they've been used for centuries, from the highest royal courts to the deepest corners of the internet.
It sounds like a bit of a riddle, right? But the answer connects a scandalous 17th century poisoning to the romance scams and phishing attacks that we all face every single day. You see, the technology has changed, for sure, but the human psychology being exploited hasn't changed one bit. Okay, to really get this, let's travel back in time. We're heading to the court of King James I of England. Just picture it, a world of lavish parties, slippery alliances, and, well, deadly ambition. And right in the middle of it all, a scandal was about to explode that would completely captivate and horrify the entire country. Now, that's not from some modern thriller novel. That's a real poem written back then about the central figure in our story, a noblewoman named Frances Howard. I mean, that line alone tells you everything you need to know about her reputation, right? People saw her as a master manipulator, someone so good at being bad that she could literally teach demons new tricks. This was the woman at the very heart of the Overbury affair.
So here's the quick and dirty on how it all went down. In April 1613, Sir Thomas Overbury, a major court insider, gets locked up in the Tower of London. His big crime? He tried to stop his best friend, who happened to be the king's favorite, from marrying Frances Howard. Just 5 months later, Overbury's dead. Frances gets her own marriage conveniently annulled, and by Christmas, she and her lover are having a massive wedding. It actually took 2 whole years for the truth to finally bubble up. Overbury didn't die of natural causes at all. He had been slowly and systematically poisoned.
Now, this is where it gets really fascinating. The methods that Frances Howard and her crew used, the seduction, the isolation, abusing their power, they weren't making this stuff up. They were running plays from a timeless script, a playbook of manipulation that modern psychologists and cybersecurity experts have since broken down, analyzed, and given names to. It almost always starts with something we now call love bombing. Think of it as a complete, overwhelming flood of affection. It's intoxicating. The whole point is to make the target feel like they are the absolute center of the universe, and to do it fast, getting them hooked on that feeling of adoration to build a really powerful dependency.
From there, they often move into what the tech world calls social engineering. This is basically hacking the human, not the computer. It's the art of using deception to trick people into breaking the rules or giving up secrets, usually by preying on our natural instincts, like our desire to trust or to be helpful.
And one of the key psychological tools they use is reciprocity. You know, we're all wired with this deep-seated need to repay favors. If someone does something for us, we feel this powerful urge to give something back. Manipulators totally exploit this. They'll do small favors to create this sense of debt that they can cash in later for a much, much bigger ask. So, these manipulators rely on a whole toolkit of psychological levers. They use authority, just like a royal decree was used back then. They create isolation, cutting you off from anyone who might say, hey, does this seem weird to you? And of course, they use intimidation and social pressure to slowly get more and more control. So how is this 400-year-old playbook being used today? You'd honestly be surprised how similar it is. It's almost move for move, just, in our digital world. I mean, just look at this comparison. Frances Howard used seduction to get power. Today, that's a romance scammer building a fake relationship online just to ask for money. Overbury was physically isolated in the Tower of London to shut him up. Today, an abusive partner uses coercive control to cut their victim off from friends and family. Abusing a royal order to trap someone, that's the 17th century version of that phishing email pretending to be your CEO, demanding you make an urgent wire transfer. Same game, different players. And the scale of this today is just staggering. This is not a small-time problem. In a single romance fraud case from 2024, one guy was sentenced for a scheme that stole over $2.3 million from his victims, all by playing on their emotions. And listen to this quote from a survivor of a modern manipulative relationship. That feeling she describes, that addiction, the incredible high of their attention, followed by the crushing low when they withdraw it as punishment, that is love bombing in action. It's a calculated cycle designed for one thing, creating emotional dependency. It's a tactic that's just as effective in a royal court as it is through a smartphone.
Another core tactic, both then and now, is gaslighting. It's this really sinister process of making someone doubt their own reality. By constantly denying facts, twisting events, questioning your memory, the manipulators slowly, piece by piece, just erode your confidence in your own sanity. And that makes you even more dependent on them for your perception of the world.
Okay, so when you're faced with a playbook that's been perfected for centuries, how in the world do you defend yourself? Well, it actually starts with something really simple: awareness. Just recognizing the game is the first and most important step to refusing to play it.
Therapists and survivors often talk about this really powerful strategy called the gray rock method. The idea is brilliant in its simplicity. You make yourself completely uninteresting to the manipulator. You see, they thrive on drama and emotional reactions and conflict. The gray rock method just starves them of that supply.
And the process is pretty straightforward. It's about disengaging on every single level. You keep your interactions short, you respond to their provocations with neutral, boring facts. No anger, no tears. Physically, you can just look at your phone or tie to your desk. You're basically making it crystal clear that you are not an audience for their drama.
And based on the experiences of so many people who've been through this, some really clear red flags emerge. Watch out for that too good to be true feeling, especially with these intense declarations of love coming way too soon. Notice if affection is suddenly piled on right when you try to do something for yourself, like see your friends. And honestly, the biggest one, the most critical red flag, any attempt to drive a wedge between you and your support system, your friends and your family.
So all of this, the history, the psychology, the modern day scams, it all brings us back to one fundamental and, kind of unsettling truth about why these cons are so effective and why they've lasted so long. Here's the bottom line. The reason this works so well is that social engineering isn't a bug in our system, it's a feature. Manipulators are exploiting the very instincts that allow society to function in the first place. Our natural tendency to trust each other, to reciprocate kindness, to respect authority, and to like people who are likable. They are literally hacking our social operating system, which leaves us with this final, really tough question. The same instincts that make us vulnerable are the exact same ones that allow us to form friendships, to fall in love, to build communities. So how do we protect ourselves from the timeless con without closing ourselves off from the very connections that make us human?